Hello to Microsoft Teams Advanced Concepts and Tips. My name is Micah Matroka. I'm the Support Desk Supervisor and Systems Administrator 2 here at Forum Infotech, IT Solutions that fit. So this is a training for some more of the advanced features and ideas within Teams, some advanced usage tips and tricks. Today we are going to be discussing some of the use of how you can get really comfortable within chat, some additional features that most people don't use, how to manage teams and channels, so how to create the teams, how to set up permissions and do some of the management aspects of the teams, how to manage files in teams using both OneDrive and SharePoint, and where those two Microsoft technologies actually reside a little more in depth so that that's understood. And then how to manage and conduct meetings. So there's a lot of different places that you can do meetings. So we'll go over a little bit of that, and I'll show you all the different places to click and get to the same place more or less. And then finally, we'll wrap up with how to add Microsoft apps and even some third-party apps to a team. And the demo that I have for us is Microsoft Forms. So to get started, right into the chat features. I'll go ahead and first we're going to look at the filters, some contacts and favorites, files, OneDrive, activity, and then adding applications directly to the chat. So let me go ahead and switch my screen over and we'll go directly to my active teams in the chat that we have. So there we go. All right. So Isai is my guinea pig for today. Thank you, Isai. In fact, you can see in the chat he had to make sure that he had a shirt on. So we'll give him a laugh there. So right off the bat within chat, you can see there's a lot in here. It's actually default. You get a lot to go off of, and finding information is often pretty hard. It's normally the active chats just go to the top with the recent. You can also actually minimize that, so I'm going to minimize that for now. And one of the best features that I found is this filter button. So we can filter by name. And let me go ahead and come back here. There we go. So Isai, we can filter and find anything that has Isai in it. As well, we can filter by my name. And there's some appointments that are actually coming up for me. These ones actually ended, but there you go. In here you can see unread, meetings, and muted as well. So anything unread, well, there's obviously nothing unread for me. So that's a good way to filter out. As well, you can set, instead of just the chats, go to contacts. So instead of that big list of individuals, you can actually create a contacts list. So right here, as an example, I have my whole tech team with all the individual contacts. So I can go directly to Keith. I can go, oh look, he was on vacation last week, so we were sharing some pictures. We can go to Jay and back to Isai. And that keeps the contacts good. You can also have favorites is the default. You just add users. So Ricardo's my favorite, my director of technology. So I'm going to go ahead and add him in there. Unfortunately, Ricardo's on vacation this week himself, so I can't bother him too much, but he's definitely my favorite. If you want to create another contact list, down here you can create a new contact group. Name it. Let's see, I account managers in here. So I can bother them at the click of a button. And I can add Nicole. There we are. So any of these lists are substantially easier to get to if I want to go and talk to anybody specific than searching. Otherwise, you have to type in their name and then go here, and then it populates the chat. Well, that's not as easy as just clicking within your contacts. So taking a few extra minutes to do that really helps with the administration of your Teams account when it comes to chat. So in the actual chat box, you'll see that up at the top there is chat, obviously. You can add your GIFs, you can add your smileys, your emojis, and actually direct attach files in here. Or you can come up to the top and there's files there as well. So you can drag and drop your files in here, or you can hit the share button and you can get OneDrive or direct from your computer. So where OneDrive actually hooks into Teams is directly into chat. So OneDrive goes to chat, and we'll talk about this a little more, but you can go ahead and open my OneDrive, and I'm going to come to pictures, and let's see here. I think I've got a funny picture in here. This is fine. This is one of my favorites, and I'll go ahead and share that with Isai. So there you go. And there's the picture, if it loads. Maybe it's not going to load for me. That's a bummer. But it is in there. So he can then open that up and see it, hopefully. There it is. So that's a shame that it's not opening, but there you go. He went ahead and upped it. So hopefully he can see it on his end. But I will just assume that that picture went through. Likewise, you can add directly from your computer. There's a CSV file. And I'll upload that. So it populated here. And you should be able to open that up and see. And of course, it's making a liar out of me. So just a minute. Okay, so there it goes. If I open this and then download it, I can see it opens with Excel online, and there's my CSV. So it's just my data. There we go. I can close that. Likewise, we can check activity on here, and there's kind of a log of everything that's gone on for Isai. So this is what he's been talking about. He's very active in Service Desk General, and he's been replying as well as creating actual actual notifications and conversations. So you can go through your individual users and check activity and keep a log of that as well. And then the last thing in chat that we're going to go over here is this add tab. So just like in the Teams, you can add many different applications directly into a chat. So for instance, we're going to go ahead and add Excel. And there's that data that we have. So, real quick, magic of photography. Went ahead and added a test worksheet because the CSV I didn't like. Can open that directly, save, and there we go. It's going to go ahead and open this Excel sheet, and then we can collaborate on this actively within the chat. So that can also be used with OneNote, Word, Visio. Trello is a really good one for third-party applications. And then Microsoft Stream. Uh, Please feel free to go through the list and then also search as well. So this list has gotten significantly larger just within the last few months. Definitely worth looking into. So that is pretty much chat in a nutshell. Please make sure that you're going through it, get familiar. It's pretty easy, but this this contacts is really a lifesaver when you're getting into it. So let's go ahead and get back to the presentation. All right. So the next thing that we'll talk about is creating teams and channels. So new team creation. When creating teams, there are templates that you can use, which I highly recommend if you want to save some time to go ahead and use those. You can also create teams based off of groups, both within Teams as well as Office 365 groups. And then you'll have channel creation, which you can obviously that's where you actually chat within the team, and then how to manage the teams and channels, as well as finally how to add members within there. So let's go ahead and switch back over to our teams. There we are. And you'll see I've got all my current teams are hidden. So you can actually select a team and hide it. And I'll go ahead and do that and get a blank slate. So let me see here. Go here so it's nice and clean. There we are. So when you first create a team, you come down here and you click the join or create a team button. So you're given 3 or more options. One is the option, obviously the first one is to create a team. The next one is to join a team, and I'll show you where you can get that code. So if there is an active team that you can join, you can grab that code and plug that in. The next thing is to join one that's already created and public or accessible to you, maybe in your organization, but you haven't already joined. So if I click that, this would go ahead and populate. This was just a test, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to come over here and I'll show you how to create the teams. So directly is a from scratch. You also have a from a group or team. These are those groups, or the templates. Before we get into this from scratch or group or team, I actually wanted to go over these templates that Microsoft now gives us, which are pretty cool. Right off the manage a project. So if you're working in your organization and you have a project, it's very good to use Teams for this. And that they provide this template now is a savior. If you click on the template, you can actually see it auto creates 4 channels: a general channel, an announcements channel, resources, and planning, as well as automatically adds 2 applications, OneNote and Wiki. There's some other things that you can add on here, like Trello is really good for projects if you are into Kanban, as well as lists. And obviously, the Microsoft Forms is really good for testing and feedback. So we'll go back on there. There's a few other ones in here. So organize help desks. For me, obviously that would be my choice since I'm the support manager. Um, there's ones for hospitals. So this is pretty good. You got general announcements, compliance, custodial, human resources, and pharmacy, as well as the wiki on there. So you can keep a lot of your documentation and a lot of your active work actually in Teams in the team itself. So very cool, these templates. You can also create from a group. So this was the team group if you have pre-configured teams, or Microsoft 365 groups. So if you have distribution groups, security groups within Microsoft 365, you can utilize those and pre-populate a team. Likewise, you can go from scratch. Now, when you go from scratch, the first thing that it asks you to do is to either create a public or a private. So obviously, public is going to be anyone in your org can join this. That's what this Fit Support team up here is a public join team. Or if you have departmental needs or maybe compliance needs, any kind of management issues, special needs for that, you can create a private team and lock it down to only specific groups or users and keep it moderated a little better that way. For our demo, we're just going to go with the public. I am going to name this demo team. Actually, yep, demo team is fine. I was trying to think of something funny to name it, but we'll just go with demo team. And then this is a demonstration team. Here we go. And we'll create it. Nice work. All right. So right off the bat, it asks us to add members to our demo team. I'm actually going to skip that simply because I want to do a little bit of advanced configurations in order to make this team a little safer before I start inviting everybody in. So we'll go ahead and skip that. So the first team that you get always comes with just a general channel. In this, this is just your general channel. You can do whatever you want, and here it's the basics. So here you go. You add more people, create more channels, open FAQ, which is very helpful for getting started. It's super simple to add channels. First off, when you're first starting, you can just click on this. Channel 2. Get myself a description here. And then likewise, in the channels, you can make them standard, accessible to everybody in the team, or private. So if you have a public team like this where everybody can enter the general, but not everybody can access a specific channel, then you set this to private. And that's a good way to kind of get an extra security. It asks you to add people, you can skip that as well. So you'll know when teams and channels are public and private is when they have this lock on them. So a lock on the channel or the team even means that it is a private version of that. So like I said, that's how we get our basic teams and channels set up. But I want to do a little bit of management. So under the team, I can actually check this Manage Team button here and pull up some information. So the owners are me because I set it up. There are no members or guests, so that's not an issue. There's the channels underneath it, and you can see that one of them is public, standard, and one of them is private. And then you have some settings that you can do. So we can set the team picture by changing this. Or if I have a picture that I wanted to put in there, I could change it. We can also change member permissions. So I can enable this to allow certain things. So enable channel creation, adding apps and more. Allow members to create and update channels. So if I wanted my public members to be able to update the channels on this, I can keep it ticked. Otherwise, I can uncheck that and make it so that only the owner, only I can actually create additional channels. Likewise, I can allow members to delete or restore channels. So I don't want them to delete them either. Allow members to add and remove apps. That's okay. Apps can come or go. To update or upload custom apps, no, I don't want that. Allow members to create, update, and remove apps, or remove tabs rather. No, that's fine. Allow members to create, update, and remove connectors. I don't want them to do that either. Give members the option to delete their messages. Sometimes it's helpful. Um, if you don't, if you have a compliance need for it, where they're not allowed to delete once it's in there, then you may want to uncheck this box. A lot of times I see misposts in the wrong location in a conversation, and my members will delete it out and then put it in the right spot, and then they feel embarrassed. So it's not a big deal. So I'll keep that checked. And then give members the option to edit their messages. Absolutely, that's perfectly fine. Likewise, there's guest permissions. So enable channel creation and delete channels. So guests are not even enabled on this, so they can't have that. And that is a server-wide uh, permission. So if you want guests to do that. Mentions, these are your ats, the notifications. So I always like that because if it's very important, we always want to be able to notify our team name, our teammates, or the channel as a whole. And that's just by typing the at sign followed by the name of one of our members. And then this is our team code. Remember when I was saying when we were first starting this creation that you could also join a pre-configured team through a code? This is where you get that code. So you would hit the generate button and it would give a code, in which case your employees, your teammates, your associates can then copy that and paste it in and automatically get plugged into the team. There's some fun stuff, as they say. This is where you have your GIFs, stickers, memes. Because this is a work channel, we're going to set it on pretty strict. It's okay that they have a little bit of fun with their GIFs, but definitely want to lock it down a little bit. Keep it from being too rambunctious. And then last is tags. So tags are a good way to keep track of your teams if you have a lot. If you have projects, you can have a projects tag. If you have others, that's just a good way to keep track of it. And tagging is by default only set to team owners. You can also set it to owners and members in case you need some help keeping track of that. Within this management settings, you also have analytics. So this is a good place to see how activity is. You have summary, engagement, roles, active users, all kinds of good stats in here, as well as file sizes and apps. So if you get too many apps out of control, then we know we have to lock that down and remove a few. In order to add and remove real quick, you also come right over here to the apps, and you can see a full list of what's actually attached to the team. So that's a good place to do that. As well, you can hit this button for more apps, and there you go. It'll bring you to the apps section. Going back. The last thing that you want to do, probably at this point, is to add members to the team. So that can be done either on this side, you can add members, or directly on the team, the same thing, add members. And you can type in members and add them individually within your organization as well as outside your organization. And members outside of your organization will be added as a guest. So there you go. I've sent myself an invitation to be added to this. Pretty good. All right, so we hit up how to create new teams on there, the templates, the groups, some tips and tricks on channel creation and management, and then how to add members as well. And just to finish it up, we'll come back into the management, and we can, from here, actually remove members as well. So I'll go ahead and remove that guest since they're no longer needed. And sorry, Isai, you don't need to be in this one either. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was just a little bit of background on how file management is provided within the team's infrastructure. So this is one of the things that a lot of people kind of take for granted is though you can store files in Teams and share it, it's in two different technologies within the Microsoft framework. The chat, direct chat, and direct file transfer between users leverages their OneDrive technology. And that's normally what you pay for individually with your Office 365 subscription. Versus Teams, the back end of Teams actually stores within SharePoint. So those of you that are familiar with SharePoint and the being able to access those files on a SharePoint website, you can actually get to that same website through Teams. So it all pretty much comes together into a single location. In fact, let me go ahead and switch back over to our team that there we go, that we just created. And I'm back into the general, and you'll see under here from posts to files. So this is a little different than what we had in the chat. You can see you can add cloud storage, or you can open in SharePoint. So if I click this, it's going to go ahead and open. Here we go. Let me switch over to that. So it's going to switch over and open a SharePoint site. And you can see all of your files will be accessible in here, just as they are within Teams. So very useful. All right. So moving on, managing and conduct meetings. All right. So meetings are pretty much accessible throughout all of Teams. I think they did a really good job of allowing you to start a meeting when you really need to. You can start meetings directly within chat. You can start it within a team, and you can even use the calendar function to plan and schedule meetings. Direct meetings are basically the meet now, or in chat, you can just call somebody and do a direct call to one-on-one. Likewise, you can also schedule them out, reoccurring, and this all synchronizes with Office 365. So your Outlook calendar, you will get notifications for any scheduled meetings, and within Teams, any calls that happen, immediate calls that happen, will pop up as well. Uh, I wanted to go through some settings and permissions as well as backgrounds, so we'll go ahead and switch back over and see if we can get a little bit of that going. So right off within our Teams, you can see here is the Meet button. So there's a drop down. You can do a Meet Now or Scheduled Meeting. So Meet Now would just call everybody in your team. Obviously, there's nobody in this team, so it wouldn't do much. Likewise, in chat, if we come back over here, there's an audio call, a direct video call, or screen sharing. So screen sharing is one of the things that you can do within a meeting that allows you, obviously, to do what it says is screen share and show your colleagues what you're looking at and maybe get some direct feedback. If you don't want to see their faces, you can forego the video call and just go directly to an audio call. Likewise, you can go to calendar, and you'll see I'm actually missing a meeting right now, but that's okay. And you can schedule meetings by clicking on a block and scheduling a meeting. So this will be a new meeting. I'm gonna name it test meeting. You can directly choose who needs to be here, who is required, as well as clicking that button over to the right for optional attendees as well. So for this, I'm going to see if Isai is available, and it comes up as free, so that's good. And because it synchronizes with Office 365, it will tell you when somebody's not free at a specific time. So for instance, Harry is actually busy on the 24th at 3. And because Harry's busy, he has something marked in his calendar. It'll give me suggestions down here for possible times where they're both free. Isn't that cool? That's a lifesaver for me. I don't have to ask and say, "Hey, when are you available?" In fact, if they've got their calendars sorted out, hopefully they do, the suggestions will let me know when hopefully most everybody's available. You can add a channel. So within your teams, you can actually add a direct channel that this is going to, as well as a location if it's an actual meet at location, and then your meeting summary, and then send it out. All right, so that should have created a meeting for us. Let me go ahead and go back and double check it. There it is, test meeting. Likewise, once it's there, I can directly join in, or I can edit it. I can remove somebody and automatically set up for us because we have ours configured. And I can even make it repeatable every weekday, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, or a custom number. So if I want to set it to every 5 days and end it on the 30th, I could do that. Or I could just completely cancel it out, send the update, and it's still there for me. But it's no longer necessary for my other two colleagues. So likewise, if I wanted to do a direct call, I could come in here and do a direct call. So I'm going to see if I can get a team meeting going. And since it's just me, it should be good. So when you start a team meeting, you get this pop up right here. And you're able to name it. So this is a test meeting. And it gives you some options. So you can it automatically starts with your voice on. You can actually turn that off so that you come in muted. You can also turn on and off your camera. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that right now. Yay! Just to double check. Hey, so I've got my background, and I look pretty good. And I'll go ahead and turn that off because I don't need anybody to worry about seeing me, even though I know I look good. You can also actually turn audio off, prevent echo when there's already an active mic and speaker in the room, or add a room for your meeting, so to use its sound and video system. So if you have a specific conference room that you want, you can use that as well. And if you need to, you can also phone in to these. If you have the Office 365, the Teams telephony options turned on. So I'll go ahead and join this. That way we can go over some of the more interesting permissions. There we are. So right away, this is my meeting. It'll show who all is. Oh, there you go. There's a suggestion, request to join. So I'm not going to worry about Isai. He's working. Um, but you can add participants directly in here by typing their names in within your organization. So there's Talia, one of our other systems administrators. If I wanted to add her to the meeting, I could. Or I could even copy this join button and send it directly to my team or directly through chat or even email it to somebody, and they can click on this and it'll come directly in. Now, this is interesting as well to note. When you start a team meeting directly within a team, it does actually come up within the team itself. So there's no reason why, if you schedule for the channel when scheduling out, that those members that are available shouldn't see this and shouldn't jump in your meeting, because getting people into meetings sometimes is not the funnest. All right. Now we've got this going. We have all of our participants. We want to make sure that it goes pretty well. So let's check out our more actions, and we'll go through some of the meeting options. These are very important, especially in our COVID days. There's a lobby. So who can bypass lobby? If you want people to immediately come in to the meeting, then you can set this to everyone can bypass the lobby. Likewise, you can people in my organization and trusted organizations, if you have a trust set up, just people in my organization, or only I can bypass the lobby. Everybody else needs to come in and get accepted into this. Always let callers bypass the lobby. Uh, that's actually turned off, which is a good thing because you don't want to, strangers just calling in. Announce when callers join or leave. That's always a good thing. Who can present? This is a big one. Oh, goodness. So, for all of you familiar with Zoom Bomb, thankfully Teams is a little better off. You can set it to only allow specific people to present. Uh, People in your organization, or only the presenter or or the person that's running the meeting. I like to set this to specific people, and if I'm running a big meeting, a training, I always actually set allow attendees to unmute. That way everybody's muted and people have to raise their hand or speak up in chat for me to unmute them before they can actually talk. So that's pretty much the safety features that are within the Teams meeting. It's pretty straightforward. You have your conversations. You can raise a hand, and it'll notify, "Hey, I raised my hand." Here's that share content if you wanted to present. So unlike uh, unlike Zoom, Teams allows you to do both the screens that you have as well as individual applications, as well as your PowerPoints, whiteboard. If I had a Word document in here, it would be up there as well. So it gets very granular, and I actually like that. But some people forget that the screen shares are on the left side. So just remember that if you have multiple screens, that's where you want to go. And then you can close that out. The last thing is pretty much just a fun thing, is you can apply background effects when you're doing your videos. The base one is just the blur, and you can preview this. Hey, so you can't see my messy back, my messy room that I work in. Or I could be on the beach. I wish I was on the beach. That'd be great. Also, you can brand your own backgrounds. So there's a Forum Infotech background that I use. And you can apply and turn on your video, or you can just stop the preview, decide that you don't want it, and you're good to go. So with that, we went over how to uh, open meetings and chat Teams and in the calendar to schedule, the direct meet versus the scheduled meetings, some of the more important settings and permissions, and then had some fun with the backgrounds as well. So the last part of this training is to add applications to enhance Teams. So I already did that a little bit when we added the Excel directly into the chat. But to really get good use of your team, you have to be able to add additional applications directly into the team. So many of the Microsoft Office 365 apps are already fully compatible with Teams, and I will demo that with a Microsoft form. So we'll go ahead and get back into our Teams and our general, and we're going to go ahead and add Microsoft Forms in here. Real easy, just click the plus. Let's do that again in case you missed it. So up here at the top, add a tab, plus. We're going to go ahead forms, create or share a form. So I'm going to go ahead and do a test form and save that. And there we go. We're on our way to creating a test form. So we'll make a text question. This raining, yes. I love the rain. How did you enjoy this training? It probably makes more sense to do it in a rating. Go ahead and delete this one out. And that is required. And there you go. That's your form. So you can preview it. Thanks. Your response has been submitted. It's really just that easy. With different applications, though, obviously come different needs, different logins, especially with third-party applications. So Trello is one. If you do not already have a Trello account, you have to be able to connect that in. If you do not have the licensing for Visio, you won't be able to utilize that. There are some drawbacks to this that based off of that, but once it's connected in, all of these work very good. There's way too many of these to go through in this training video, but you'll see there's Evernote in here. It is a very popular alternative to OneNote. Microsoft has done a really good job of not just locking out um, their tools. So if there's something that you like, there's a good chance that it is compatible with Teams as well. And I will applaud them for that. Um, so depending on your industry, depending on your needs, there's a lot of expandability. And you can add, there was one in there that I just saw, TeamViewer. That's a good one for remote connectivity. Zoho CRM. So all the Zoho stuff is in here. If you're in Zendesk, that's that's a good one. So just to name a few of the big guys, there's various bots. Avocado, nice. Um, there's a lot of expandability. Teams is really designed with this in mind, where you can use your calendar, you can use the chat. In fact, you can directly, another tip before I let you guys go, is you can um, email directly within Teams. So if you want to have a message emailed out, you can share it to Outlook right here. So if a conversation runs in Teams and you need to email it or keep it saved, all of these conversations are always saved, but you can email something directly as well for compliance needs. You can even encrypt it so that you make sure that it is safe and solid. All right, so let's go ahead and go back. So we finished up by demonstrating a little bit. I know it was real quick with the Microsoft Forms and how easy it is to actually integrate additional applications into Teams. So thank you very much for watching this. If you guys have any need for assistance, any questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out for additional help with any setup or administration. Forum Infotech is definitely here for you all, and I appreciate you watching. You have a great day.